Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about optimal settings for Raspberry Pi 4B. Seem to have the best results. I'm also going to tell you a secret tip that'll help you save your flash media that I'm not seeing talked about very much. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to start the video off with a view of my setup so you can kind of see what I'm working on visually. Let's get this started. So as you can see, this is my Pi setup. I have it hooked up in a shed, and USB cable runs to a Samsung microphone. I've had it for a while. It seems to work. Yeah, that's just my setup. It's not very elaborate. It picks up a lot. I'm gonna show you the settings and how it runs in a minute. Actually, we're gonna start off with Raspberry Pi 4B settings because it runs on top of that, so why not start there? And then we'll hop back into here. So come on, let's go take a look at those settings inside a Raspberry Pi 4B. So the first command I'm gonna go to is the boot config of the Pi. I am overclocking this a bit. As you can see, I'm running at 1700. This is a single purpose machine. I'm not doing anything else with it, so I just want results to spit out faster. I'm running this on Wi-Fi. So you see power management, make sure that's off. I don't know what the command is, just Google it. Also, you probably want to set it up so it does it at boot. There's various ways to do it. However you feel like doing it, that's up to you. This video isn't going to go into that. But if you're using Wi-Fi on your Raspberry Pi 4, if it cuts out, it'll basically stay off. So you want to turn that off. I think that's really about it. Yeah, make sure power management is off on your Raspberry Pi, for the Wi-Fi at least. If you're LAN connected to LAN, that doesn't matter. All right, so here's the BirdNET console, and you can see I actually have 3 new detections for 3 new species today. I've been tweaking this and trying to get the most usage out of my Raspberry Pi 4. You can see I actually got a lot of birds in the area. My results weren't always this good. I was basically getting maybe like 50 a day. There was actually a bunch of birds that weren't on the list. I'm kind of sandwiched between 2 urban sprawls. I've got a river and forests by me, and there's more birds than the surrounding areas, so those are off my list because the surrounding area does not have these birds, or they're not as frequent and they're just cut off. So you can see here, this is actually the species occurrence frequency threshold, and I had it at 0.3, I want to say it starts off at, and yeah, 0.03, which is 3%. I dropped it to 1%. You can actually do a tester here to see what birds, actually launch that for you. So at 3, you'll see that the list is this long. It goes to 0.3s down here, 0.03. That's the lowest bird species that'll go. Ring-necked pheasant here, we'll go to 1. Now you'll see that the ringnet pheasant is all the way up here, but we have these birds. When I was doing my testing, I saw birds on this list. I can see it wasn't showing up, and I wasn't happy with that. So definitely play around with these lists. Make sure it suits your area. Don't rely on it fully, because the closest data they may be getting may not pertain to what is in your area. That wasn't the only thing that I've changed. Let's go. We take a look at the advanced settings. The audio I have record in 9 seconds, so BirdNET uses 3-second segments to analyze. So I figure 3 segments of 3 seconds is pretty reasonable. It takes about half a second to process that. I think that's a good amount of time. Extraction length is basically the clip size that it pulls from the recording. I want the full recording. I don't want bits of audio. I want like a beginning and an end, and hopefully the bird calls in the middle. I use them in various projects, and being able to extract that fully is more important to me than saving space. But if you only want bird calls, you can lower this, and it'll try to clip it into segments that are smaller to save space. But also I believe that this uses less CPU processing power, because it's not cutting the clip into segments, it's just saving it, changing the codec container, and storing it. Where I feel like extraction length does try to clip it around the birds, and I feel like that does add a little processing power behind it. I did change the extraction audio format from, I want to say it was MP3 to FLAC. I want better quality. If you're going for space, use something different like MP3, because you're just going to chew up your space. Another thing I did is I use a custom URL. If you're not sure what that is, basically you can use the web address to go directly to BirdNET without needing the port or the specific address. I have this running through Tailscale, so I can actually access this if I needed to outside the home, on a cell phone. It does come in handy when I want to take photos and I'm not sure what call I just heard. I can see it, and it lets me maybe identify it a little faster, looking into the trees to see what I'm looking for. BirdNET light settings, overlap. I have it at 0. In a minute, I'll show you exactly how the processing is going and how fast it is. But basically, I feel like I'm only losing about a second, and I don't want it to take extra processing cycles to process the same amount of audio. So I just have overlap at 0. I figure the faster the system, the less overlap you need. But if you're doing longer length, maybe your system does need some overlap because it needs to save. Definitely play around with that as well, but I feel like with the settings I'm showing you, it's not necessary. Confidence, I did drop it. The reason was I was seeing birds that were getting detected by the microphone, but BirdNET was dropping it because the confidence was just below the threshold, and I didn't want to, but it seemed like it was necessary. Also, when looking at bird weather, all the BirdNET pucks out there that you can buy that are pre-made for this setup, they all seem to have a confidence of nothing and literally throw everything up there. Bird weather seems to run their own process through it, so I think a 50-50 to me seemed like it made sense. If it's above 50, it's going. If not, it's not. And it definitely seems like that's the sweet spot for me. I tried 60, but there's just a few that don't make the cut, and 50 seems to work the best. My microphone is rather good. It picks up a lot of frequency range, and I think that kind of confuses the algorithm to basically throw that result away because maybe it's got too much frequency. I don't know, but play with it. So sigmoid sensitivity I hear is from BirdNET Lite, which was the original BirdNET, and BirdNET Pi is a fork of it. You really don't need to use it. From what my understanding is, the confidence is all you need to change, and that in turn changes whatever it needs for the sigmoid by itself. All right, I think that is all the settings for BirdNET, so I'm going to show you guys quickly what results we're getting and how quickly. So I have a microphone positioned outside, and we'll watch the logs a little bit, and hopefully I can record something as it happens so you can kind of see how quickly it notifies that there is a capture. But while we wait, because there's obviously no birds in the area at the moment. So here's the 3 chunks, and the 3 chunks is obviously 3 chunks of 3 seconds, which make up the total of 9 seconds. And it analyzes the audio in half a second, just a little bit over, which, so you figure even if you double it, it's 1 second of audio, which is why I don't use any overlap. I feel it's not needed. I'll take a half-second loss is basically okay with me. I don't feel I'll miss much in a second, as opposed to processing the same audio over and over. So now I guess we'll record the log a little bit, and hopefully we'll catch some sort of bird for you guys. Also, I hope that the microphone I have outside at the moment will pick up the bird that we're trying to show on the logs, and how quickly BirdNET on this Raspberry Pi 4B processes these bird calls. So the microphone I'm using is a Samsung Go mic. I've had it for years, just actually laying around, and I figured I might as well do something with it, and BirdNET came around. It was plug and play. I didn't have to do anything. I just plugged it in and it worked. I know some people have issues, and if you're looking for one and can find this probably 20-year-old microphone, by all means use it. It does work. All right, I guess while we wait, might as well show you a few recordings of how the Samsung Go mic sounds. So here are a few recordings of the Samsung Go mic. So even with the plane in the background there, it picked it up. And I think that's part of the issue. I feel like confidence, because I want to say it was too much, because it picked up too many frequencies. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I just know that you can pay attention to this number and kind of see him pop up. And that's anything below 0.5 is obviously going to get spit out. Everything above is going to get added. Guys, we got something. Apparently we got a dark-eyed Junko. So yeah, and if you look, I'm sure it's up here already. Yeah, you know, it's just that quick. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about is disk usage. So I actually have mine running off of a USB stick and not a micro SD. I just have more of them. But disk usage is a thing. So RAM disk, turn on RAM disk. I haven't seen anyone mention it, but you can see that there's very little usage going on the disks when you have it turned on, because it's all going into RAM. RAM is used, but you can see it's just a gig. It's nothing crazy. But all that processing you can see in the background, it's still doing every 9 seconds. It's recording and processing, but disk usage is 0. It's all in RAM. So your USB sticks will take longer to burn out, and your micro SD cards. I want to say a lot of disks fail after about 20 write cycles for flash media. So the less usage, the better. And once it's going, as you can see, it's still 0 while the system is being used. And then there's a little bit of usage. You know, the system still has to do stuff outside of this, but it's very minute. It was just a few kilobytes for a fraction of a second. So yeah, definitely turn on RAM disk, and let me show you where that is. It's in services. At the bottom it says it's experimental, which, I mean, it's fine. I don't care. It could be. I just hit enabled, and that's all you need to do, and it does the rest. So you may need to restart. Just be ready. And that's it. That's my last tip. RAM disk. Turn that on. Save your flash media.